Hi, welcome to your Powers of Powers and Powers of Products videos. Kind of a tongue twister for you. By the end of this video, you will be able to raise a power to a power and raise a product to a power, none of which you know, but you will know shortly. So the first thing is, what is the rule when you're talking about a power to power? I'm going to give you an example here first. This is the why behind why it works. So here we have 5 to the 4th squared, and that's really 5 to the 4th times 5 to the 4th. And we know that when we're multiplying, we can just, when we're multiplying powers with like bases, we learned yesterday that we could add them together, add the exponents together, so we get 5 to the 8th power. In other words, so taking that knowledge, in other words, you can multiply the exponents and the base will stay the same. So those are the two steps there. The algebraic piece of that is going to be when you have a raised to the m power and then you're multiplying a power by a power. You can just multiply them together, so a and then m times m. And just a reminder that a can't be 0 in this case, otherwise it doesn't work. So how do you simplify them? Now that you know the rule, we can do some practice problems here. So 3 to the 6th times the 3rd power, that's going to be 3, base stays the same, and you multiply the exponent, so 6 times 3 is 18. There's my answer, simple as that. You can also apply it with variables, and this is not cooperating super well with me today. N to the 4th power raised to the 7th power really just means I have n to the 4th times n to the 4th times n to the 4th times n to the 7 times. I can take that, and my base stays the same, and I multiply, so 4 times 7 is 28. That is my answer for that one. Lastly, simplifying a power. It looks a little bit trickier, but nothing you can't handle. You just got to take it piece by piece, and you'll be okay. The first piece that you're going to do is the multiplying of the power by a power. So you'll want to do that first. So y to the 3rd power times, and then we have y to the 5th raised to the negative 2nd. So we're multiplying those together. We know that that would be then y to the negative 10th power. And then we are multiplying exponents here, so we can just say that this is y, and then adding would be 3 plus negative 10 would be negative 7. And then from there, I need to change that negative into a positive, simplify it down, so I have 1 over y to the 7th as my final answer. Now it's your turn. You have 2 questions here using the power times a power. So go ahead and answer these and then check in with me when you're done. Here are your answers. If you didn't get these, be sure you either figure out what you did wrong or bring your questions to class so you can ask them. The next rule we have to talk about is raising a product to a power. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you why that works. So I'm going to start with the example. And we have 3x to the 4th power. And what this is saying is I have 3 4 times, and I have x multiplied 4 times. And so because of that reasoning, I can say then that I'm taking 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. And then x to the 4th time would be x to the 4th power. So that is my answer to that problem. In other words, you raise each factor to the power and multiply. So each piece of that one, there's parentheses and then an exponent, a product to a power. Here's the algebraic method for it. When you have a times another number and then raised to the n power, you're going to take that exponent and apply it to the a and apply it to the b, and then of course obviously a and b cannot be 0. How do you simplify them? We'll start with some easy examples first. So here I have taking that exponent and applying it to both. So I now have 3 squared times n squared, and that's going to give me 9n squared for an answer. Second one here, you can have negatives involved, and that's okay. So we're going to apply it to everything that we see. So we have 3 to the negative 2 power times g to the 4th to the negative 2 power. And we're just going to chunk this. So 3 to the negative half power we know is 1 over 3 squared, which is 9. So this is really going to be 1 over 9. And then I have what I know with exponents. We're applying what we just learned. So I can have this be g, and then we're multiplying those to the negative 8th power. And then that means I have 1 over g to the 8th. Simplify that just a little bit more. I have 1 over 9g to the 8th as my final answer. The last problem we're going to do is more along the lines of simplifying than just evaluating, but we can do this. You just take it one step at a time and chunk it. So the first thing we're going to do here is recognize that we have some products raised to a power, and so we're going to do that. And that's this piece. We also have a power to a power here. We'll start with the power to a power, just go left to right, no reasoning here. So n to the 10th is what that becomes. 5 times 2 is 10. And then we're multiplying, and now we have to distribute, really is what we're doing, that the positive 3 to each one. So I have 4 to the 3rd times m to the 3rd times n, and then we're multiplying here, so negative 6. And now we can evaluate a little bit more. N to the 10th is going to stay n to the 10th. 4 to the 3rd is 64. M to the 3rd stays, and then I have n to the negative 6, which is 1 over n to the 6th power. Because we're multiplying here, we can simplify this down just a little bit more. And I was tempted, you can do this, where you have 1 over n to the 6th. However, if you notice, you can simplify this even more because we have n to the 10th times n to the negative 6th. So if you recognize that, this is going to make your math a little bit easier than changing it into a fraction. And we know that we can add these together, which will give us n to the 4th power, which means our final answer then would be 64 m to the 3rd, n to the 4th as a final answer. You would still get it this either way using the n to the 10th in the numerator and the 6th in the denominator, but that's something you haven't quite learned yet, but you can figure it out. It would still give you n to the 4th as a final answer. Your turn. 2 questions. Show your work, just like I've been in the video, and then check in with me when you're done. Here are the answers. Hopefully you did use a calculator. And if you can't figure out why the answers are the way they are, be sure you ask those questions in class. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.